Good morning and happy Friday, my weekday warriors, my Wilson County Public Library teens. I hope you're all doing very well on this beautiful, nice and crisp, well, kind of crisp compared to what we've been having. Okay, let's talk about it real quick. It's been 1,000,000 degrees. It is no longer 1,000,000 degrees. It's like, let's see, right now it says it's about 65 degrees outside. Now it is the morning, but it is a nice, beautiful day here in Wilson, North Carolina. I hope once you get out of class that you take full advantage of it when you get home this afternoon. Welcome to TGIF, Wilson County Public Library's Book Talk, where we look at the best in YA literature. I'm your host, Kate Britton. I am the teen librarian here at the Wilson County Public Library. And we're going to talk about something a little more serious today than what we would usually talk about. Not serious, but a little more somber. So this is our last show that we will have before the 11th, September 11th. And this September 11th marks the 20th anniversary of the terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center, on the Pentagon, and the flight that crashed in Pennsylvania. And I felt very much like, with everything that's going on, and especially considering that it is the 20th anniversary of those attacks, and I felt like it would be a good thing to talk about today. So the book that we are highlighting today is actually a newer graphic novel. It's called In the Shadow of the Fallen Towers: The Seconds, Minutes, Hours, Days, Weeks, Months, and Years After the 9/11 Attacks. And it's by Don Brown. And it's a graphic novel that chronicles the aftermath of the 9/11 attacks and the effects that these attacks had on our recent history and what we've been seeing for the past 20 years. And a lot of you guys, if you're a teenager, so you weren't around when it happened. I'm sure you've been told a lot about what happened that day. It is one of those days that anybody who was around, like I was 12 when it happened. I was in middle school. I was in 7th grade, and I can tell you exactly where I was when I heard about it. It's a lot like, people who went through learning about, when Pearl Harbor happened, they could tell you when that happened, or when John F. Kennedy was assassinated. Things like that. And this is one of those moments where I can tell you exactly where I was. My personal story about it was I was in 7th grade music class, and we started hearing rumblings that a plane had crashed into a building in New York. And then it escalated into a plane crashed into the World Trade Center. And then it turned into a jet airliner crashed into the World Trade Center. And, once we got the full brunt, learned the full extent of what happened. And I remember an assembly, we had a full school assembly, and I went to a smaller middle/high school. And our headmaster telling us what had happened. For me personally, it hit home because my dad was an airline pilot, and he was supposed to be leaving on a trip that day, and I didn't know where he was going on that trip. And luckily, we found out that they sent him home. He was okay, but recently went to the 9/11 memorial fairly recently in New York, which is just absolutely stunning. And you see the names of, the pilots and flight attendants and passengers of those American Airlines and United Airlines flights who died that day. And, my story of what happened and my memories of what happened, they're just one of so many people. I know people who were directly affected by the attacks, some who lost family in the attacks. people who've lost friends in the attacks. And I think, 20 years on, it's really a good, we've got to remember what happened and not forget about what happened that day. And especially now, we've completely withdrawn from Afghanistan. And, that really, being my age, it was a war that went on for 2/3 of my life. The vast majority of my time being alive, we were at war. And it was all a kind of a direct result of these attacks and the kind of reverberations that swept throughout the world, really. And so this book really takes a real journalistic eye to it, but oh my gosh, the illustrations are incredible, and it gives a really profound, in-depth look at what happened. So, like I said, you guys are teenagers. You weren't around when this happened, but it doesn't make it any less important or heartbreaking that it did happen. And we're still seeing the effects of it today. And I think coming up on the 20th anniversary of 9/11, we've really got to, it's a time to reflect on what's happening. And so I think that's kind of one reason it's been my pick for today. And it's a brand new book, just recently came out, and we do have it here at the library. And I highly recommend that you come check it out, figuratively and literally, as I always say. But so on this 11th, just take a moment to reflect and think about what happened that day, and to kind of reflect on what's happened since, and go forward with the resolve to make the world a better, safer place. I think is something we need to do. So anyway, with that being said, I hope that you all have a wonderful weekend. Make sure to check out In the Shadow of the Fallen Towers by Don Brown. You will not be disappointed. And take care of yourselves this weekend. Enjoy the weather. Get outside, get some fresh air. It'll be really good for you, I promise. So take care, you guys. Be good.